Assalamu alaikum students. Article for today is steady current. Now what is basically meant by steady current? To understand that thing, by the meaning of steady, we mean a constant current, right? Steady current is something which is slow, gradual and a constant one. This is so a constant current, that is a steady current, and it is basically time independent current, right? It does not depend upon time, it continuously flows at a continuous rate. And you can also name it as a stationary current, right? It is basically a type of direct current that does not change its intensity with time, right? And what is meant by electric current? The electric current is basically the charge flowing through any section of the conductor in 1 second. You already know that definition, or you can simply say the rate of flow of charge in particular time or in 1 second is basically known as electric current. Now, what is the formula for electric current? The formula is I equals to Q by T. If the rate of flow is steady, right, it is a constant one. And if the current is variable, or you can simply say that the flow of charge is varying with respect to time, then the formula would be I equals to dq by dt. Now there are different types of current that we observe, as you can see in the blue line, that is line A. We see that it is a line parallel to the x-axis. Now what does it show? It basically shows a DC line. It is basically a DC line, and it shows that the current is steady and it does not change, and it is not varying with respect to time. And in the figure or in the curves B and C, we can see, like in the figure B we see in the curve B we see that the current is varying, but that variation is uniform. That's why we are getting a straight line, but the variation in current and time is basically uniform, or you can say a regular one, or you can say it repeatedly or periodically repeats itself after a particular interval of time. So for every interval of time, the rate of change of current is basically equal, right? So we can say that this is B is the curve for the B is the straight line for the uniform change in current. But when it comes to the curve C, we say that current is continuously varying with respect to time, right? Like its magnitude is continuously changing. And last one is the D, which is basically the alternating current, or you can simply say the sine wave, and in which the current magnitude and direction is continuously changing. And we have already discussed the formula equals to del q by del t, and coming towards its unit, q is having a unit of coulomb and time is having a unit of second. So the unit of current is basically coulomb per second, which is basically ampere, and ampere is named this unit is named on the basis of the inventor, or you can say the discoverer, who has derived all of this formula. Now coming towards the electric current, how can we understand that factor? Consider there is a particular cross section, and from that cross section of a conductor, or you can say a wire or something like that, many electrons, or you can say charges, are flowing out. So this is basically the concept that if a number of charges are moving out of a particular conductor, and in the particular time interval, then that is basically known as the electric current, having formula I equals to del q by del t. And as a matter of convention, what we have done, we have devised some directions. We have assigned some directions, or you can say simply the signs. And what are those signs? We say that if the positive charges are flowing, then that flow would be always from the high potential to the low potential, right? And if the flow of electrons is considered, then electrons always flow from the point of low potential to the point of high potential. Got it? Okay, so the next figure that shows the direction of conventional current and the electronic current. With the we have been shown a circuit in black outline, and this is a circuit in which current is flowing. If we want to assign a direction that is a conventional direction, and conventional direction is basically from the positive terminal to the negative terminal, then it is showing in the red color, red from the with the red color, and this is basically the conventional current. Like, and if I'm talking about green colored figure, then this is basically showing the direction of electronic current, or you can simply say the flow of electrons. Now, what basically thing is responsible for producing that current? And in we see that there are a number of substances are available, and one of them is metallic conductors. In metallic conductors, the charge carriers, or you can say the substances which are responsible for flowing the current, is basically the free electrons. For example, copper, zinc, silver, aluminum, etc. All the metals, they are having free electrons, a large number of free electrons which are responsible for the flow of electric current. Coming towards the electrolytes, electrolytes are definitely the such substances in which the charge carriers are positive and negative charged ions. Like, if you take an example, like as we know the process of electroplating and so on, we see that there are ions that are flowing from one plate to the other plate and so on. So basically, positive and negative ions are responsible in the electrolytes for the flow of electric current. Coming towards the gases, the charge carriers are basically the free electrons in some of the gases and ions in many of the gases. Then comes the semiconductors. Semiconductors are the material which are in at intermediate state between the conductors and insulators. And in the semiconductors like silicon and germanium, the charge carriers are basically the free electrons and holes. And what are these holes? Holes are basically those sites from where the electrons are missing, right? So they carry a positive charge because of the loss of the electron. As you can see in this figure, that current is flowing in the left side direction, like or the electrons are moving towards the left side, and the external electric field which is supplied is towards the right side. So electrons always move against the electric field, because electric field is basically from the positive terminal to the negative terminal, and electrons get repulsive effect from the negative terminal, and they move towards the positive terminal. So direction of electrons is always opposite to the electric field. And in this um, um, slide, we're going to discuss that electric current, how this electric the formula of electric current, how we can derive that formula. So consider that the average electrons are moving with speed v, right? The average speed of an electron is particularly v. Now I'm considering that an electron that is at some a point at x, and it is showing in the purple color that electrons are moving from this particular point to some any other point, and after covering a distance of d in time interval t. So the total distance would be s equals to vt, or you can say d equals to vt, right? And obviously there is not a single electron, there are a number of electrons in a conductor. So what we do and what we say, that there are number of electrons are passing, so multiplying the whole factor with factor of n, that is n number of electrons, right? So and the next thing that we do would be that this particular electron, it is not flowing only in the x direction, it is also moving in the y and the z and so on direction. So we say that it is the all the electrons are moving in three-dimensional way, right? So for that reason, we are multiplying the volume, or you can say the volume would be equal to a into d. A is definitely the cross-sectional area, and d is basically the distance covered by the electron, right? Putting the value of d over here, we are having avt, right? So volume is equal to avd t. Again, the same thing, if there are n number of electrons, then we would definitely multiply this equation with the n on both sides, right? And ultimately, if I want to determine the charge, that is the total charge in that particular conductor, then what would we do? We would definitely say that multiplying q on both sides, what we get, navt into q, right? And that's how we determine the value of current, and the value of current is basically del q by t, and putting the value of del q, that is navt q divided by t, and t would be cancelled, and then what we get, I equals to navq. Now here, n is basically the number of electrons, a is the cross sectional area of the conductor, v is the average velocity of electron, and q is the magnitude of charge of that electron, right? Now talking about this v, which is the average speed of the electron, what is that basically? This basically is drift velocity, right? And now what is basically basically drift velocity? It is a new term for you. Basically, if the conductor is isolated, then we know that in normal conditions, all the there are equal number of electrons and the positive charges, right? So atom and as a whole is neutral. But as we provide, and the continuously electrons are moving in the random directions, and collisions occur and so on conditions. But as we have applied an electric field, what would happen? As soon as the electric field is applied, all the electrons they get aligned, and all positive charges they get aligned, and all the electrons they are facing, and all the charges that they are facing a particular electric force, and the electrons are moving under that force, right? And because of that, electrons start moving towards the positive terminal, right? So in this condition, what we say, that the electric force that electrons are experiences is basically F equals to QE. And this is the zigzag pattern that is showing that electron was in random motion when electric field was not supplied. But as soon as the electric field is supplied, all the charged particles, they are moving in a particular direction with some velocity, with some average velocity, you can say, that is the drift velocity. And depending upon their like if they are electrons, they will definitely move towards the positive charges. What is basically the drift velocity is, when the electric field is applied, the electrons initially accelerate but soon reach, obviously initially they will move in a random manner, right? And their velocity continuously increase or definitely decrease with the help whenever they get collision, whenever they get some collision. But with the passage of time, their velocity becomes getting stable, and what sort of average velocity they are having, it is known as drift velocity. And this drift velocity is always again in direction which is opposite to the electric field, external electric field which is supplied. And drift velocity is obviously due to the electrons colliding with the metal atoms in the conductor. Now we know that there are two directions, as we have discussed earlier: conventional current and electronic current. And conventional current is that current which is definitely a current that the flow of current from the positive terminal to the negative terminal, right? And in that condition, if the electron positive charges are moving, they definitely would move from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. But in the second figure, as you can see, electrons definitely they will move from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. So what is the we have seen in this figure, that the direction of a drift velocity, right, that is the direction of electrons, is obviously opposite to the conventional current, right? Or you can simply say opposite to the electric field, external electric field. And what is basically the drift velocity is, drift velocity basically is directly proportional to the current, right? Current is basically directly proportional to drift velocity. And how can we derive the formula for I? We know that v is equal to at by formula. Acceleration is equal to velocity over time, and from that we have separated out v, which is equal to at, putting the value of a, which is basically F by m by Newton's second law, and putting the value of F, which is electrostatic force, and putting that value in that equation, we get EE over m. And now what is that EE? E is basically QE, and Q is the magnitude of electrons, so we are putting E over here, so it is EE by m into T. right? And this is the value of drift velocity, and by the earlier method which we have already discussed, I equals to ne avd. Putting the value of vd in this equation, we definitely get the value of I. So in this figure what we see that all the electrons, they're moving in the opposite direction to the um, electric field. Now there is another thing which is basically in electroencephalogram. It is an application of electric current, that is the dynamic electric current, that is the moving electric current. And in this condition what we see, what is basically an electroencephalogram, it is basically a neurological test that detects the electrical activity in your brain, right? How can we do that? We basically use some small metal discs, that is basically known as electrodes, and connect those electrodes with the brain, right, with the scalp. And the brain cells, how they communicate, they definitely communicate with the help of electric pulses. And all the electric pulses are then recorded, and they are definitely show some kind of waves, and we record those waves, and this is basically shown on the EEG diagram recording as shown in the figure. Now coming towards the relation, or you can say the benefits of electroencephalogram, what kind of ease it is providing. EEG basically determines the brain activity, right? Like if there is some kind of problem in the brain, like if some disease is there, or you can say some kind of abnormality is there, or some part of the brain is not functioning, there is some kind of malfunctioning there. So basically EEG is responsible to diagnose that thing, right? So what sort of disorders we can diagnose with the help of EEG? Like brain tumor, brain damage, like if the brain is damaged because of some head injury, and brain dysfunction that can have a variety of causes, right? Brain is not functioning properly because of encephalopathy and so on, diseases like that. Then any kind of inflammation in the brain, right? And any stroke or sleep disorders, all of these problems can be diagnosed with the help of electroencephalogram. And EEG is also useful to confirm the brain death if the person is in a persistent coma, right? If someone is in a coma condition, and we don't know that the person is alive or not, then EEG is responsible to confirm that the brain of that person is working or not, right? And the EEG is also responsible to tell us what sort of right level of anesthesia should be given to a person, if he or she is going to be ready for the surgery purposes. So this was our article. Thank you so much, and Allah Hafiz.